Heroic, in my opinion, is one of these teams that has so much potential. If you look at their players and kind of the talent they have amassed over the last 6 to 12 months, it's very clear that in another 6 to 12 months, maybe 2 years, those players are going to be some of the top players in Denmark. We already seen the effect of that with Valde departing after spending a big amount of time on the team. So my, I don't know, opinion on the team and what I think about them is that is third team in Denmark behind the two best teams, of course, Astralis and North. And they are the ones that either grab the talent or develop the talent from being a young player coming into a team, coming into the scene, and then into being a player that can play on one of the top teams in the world. And I think that is the place for the team right now. And unless something happens in the Danish ecosystem or the international CSGO ecosystem, I think that is how they're going to stay.
In the start of, I think, the early last year, we wanted to form a team after our old SK Gaming team split up. So we basically brought in Valde, Glaive and Snappy to the team with Freeze, so it was out that 5. We started out playing in the Team X, and after about 2 months we got contacted by an investor from Denmark that we actually went to meet over a dinner, and we wanted to hear him out and see what he had to offer, and it didn't took long until we saw the opportunities and we liked the idea. So I think it was like 2-3 months after that we say, hey, yeah, we want to try this, and after that we basically just joined this investor. Even before we announced Heroic, we were actually Team X back then as well. So on the August and 2 months after that, we kind of tried to figure out what name we wanted to use and how we were supposed to brand it. So basically, that's how it started. I think back then, I think people underestimated us, and we had a pretty good team distribution or player distribution. We had a good in-game leader and backup in-game leader. We had a good sniper. We had good roles in the team, and people didn't know. People hadn't even seen us. They didn't know what to expect from us. So I think the top teams, like when we faced Astralis and now North and Powerland and in Denmark, I think they basically underestimated us, and we caught them off guard. Our goals back then was being a top team in Denmark, of course, and break into top 20 in HRTV.org's ranking, and that was our main goal. And after just 1 month, we actually break through and came and placed 18 on the rankings. So that goal we achieved pretty fast, which was just amazing for our players and the sponsors. So that was just an amazing feeling.
Surely is going to go down, inevitably doing so right now. In fact, as Astralis so limited. Good nade coming through Snappy. He's found to buy it. It's at the hands of Xyp9x, who now with the CZ is going to try and watch for anyone jumping over to cover off those rotations. That'll give Device a bit of room. But this still comes down to dupreeh. How does he pull him back in? Never mind him. It's going to be Xyp9x to start it. Finally, dupreeh does go down. That gives Monty the access. Long-range M4 finds the AWP and finds the kill on Xyp9x immediately after. Heroic, well, you might be the #1 Danish team, as Device stated in a cheeky tweet, because they've just taken down their counterpart, and they'll move on against Tyloo.
I believe that we wanted to be able to, at that time, we wanted to qualify for the major. That was the major goal. That we never achieved that in the team, so that's still a huge disappointment that I never made it there. Apart from that, we wanted to show that we could win events and we could be a top team. I believe that we overperformed in the start. I mean, not overperformed necessarily, but people didn't believe in this team at all when we did good results back then. We won Powerland and we did good at Star Ladder. We came out of groups which no one would have thought as well. So I guess we lived up to the expectations back then and more. And then Astralis like approached us and wanted to buy out Glaive, and we decided that he really wanted that opportunity, so we decided that we would sell him and we also got a good price for that. Didn't really affect much because I was the in-game leader before and I was the in-game leader after, so a lot of people thought that it might change our playstyle, but it really didn't, because it was still me leading. What it did change was that I always used Glaive in a role where he had some responsibilities, like he was allowed to do mid-round calls as the only player on the team. I would always have final say, but he was allowed to do that, and when he left there was basically no one to do those mid-round calls, so I had a lot more responsibility, but in terms of playstyle and how we played, it didn't really change anything at all.
When Glaive left or got sold to Astralis, it was really punch in the stomach for us. It was not in a bad way, but our team kind of lost a very big part, because Glaive, he was the second caller, always helped Snappy when he struggled or didn't have any IDs. So for Snappy it was really tough because he got so much help from him. So, and you could see that in our results as well. We started to struggle a bit, so it was tough.
Nico, he was the obvious choice. He was the best player in Denmark. I still believe that if some of the top teams in Denmark want a player, they're probably going to pick him. So yeah, he's a really talented player with great aim. He's calm. He doesn't get affected by playing on stages. So, I mean, he's a really solid player. So he was just an obvious pickup.
Myself, I didn't know anything about Nico, but I think Snappy had played with him quite a few times when Snappy played in Copenhagen Wolves. Nico was standing for some couple of games and he played really good. So basically it was Snappy's call that he wanted to try him, and it was Valde's call as well, because he was standing in with Copenhagen Wolves as well. So I was just, yeah, go for it, let's try this guy. Yeah, and it turned out to be pretty good.
So we picked up Nico and we had 5 tournaments in a row, but we didn't really have time to put in Nico to the role, so it was like really good and really bad. We played the minor, which we didn't qualify from. We had some close results and there was some tension in the team, so yeah, that wasn't good back then. And also it was a mistake by us because we were already above that level, but we still participated in ESWC, and we went out to Fnatic Academy, which was like embarrassing back then. So it was like even taking the risk of playing such a tournament was dumb by us. What else did we have? Then we had Northern Arena, which we did alright at. We beat Liquid and G2 in the group stage, and then we lost 2-1 to Optic, which back then was a major disappointment, but 1 month after it turned out Optic was actually a lot better than people thought. They won like E-League and placed second at the ECS, so maybe that loss wasn't as bad as it might have looked. We had a struggle all the time that we couldn't play Dust 2 and Cash. I believe the current map pool has helped us in that regard. So we always struggled in BO Freeze because we always knew that we were probably gonna lose at least 1 map every single time, because if the opponent picked into Dust 2 or Cash, we basically couldn't do anything about it. So we had a poor map pool. I think Freeze eventually lost confidence. He didn't have much confidence left in himself, and I also think that he got like a guy like Yugi is a more skilled over, and I mean the experience he had couldn't make up for it because he lost confidence. So I still Freeze can contribute to some teams, but I think that what he had to offer was, I mean, I don't think he had more to offer to our team at that point, because he lost the confidence. And when you lose confidence as an Auber, then it's really hard to come back, because as an Auber you really have to have confidence, go for picks and basically give your team an advantage. So the worst player, the worst players that can lose confidence, I guess those are the in-game leaders and the Aubers, because they have more responsibility than the riflers.
I think we kind of needed a change. We didn't felt we were stuck. We were playing the same level. We couldn't really break through as we wanted to, and we got frustrated. And I think we just needed a good change. And Yugi has been on our radar for a long time, and I've been playing with Yugi for in the beginning of CS:GO, so I knew the guy, and Nico has been playing with him in Tricked. So we just knew Yugi was the guy we needed. He's his style with opping. He's aggressive and he can play defensive, and he's a really good opper. So that was the obvious choice. There were some struggles, but we ended up getting him, so we were all satisfied.
Yugi isn't complete yet. He still needs to work on some aspects in the game, like taking more responsibility and communicate. He got good communication skills, but control what other people do. Because as an Auber, you got as I said before, when you go for picks, then if you pick some place where another player holds, the Auber has to tell that guy you should go there instead. That's something we have to work on with him. But his mechanical skill and his game sense is obviously sublime. So it's just a process, and I think when Yugi learns that, he will become one of the best Aubers in the world, and that's why we picked him. He was the obvious choice. As I said, with Nico and Yugi, those two players was so obvious that, I mean, you couldn't overlook them. I mean, you can see at every event, everyone is talking about Velde, but I think Yugi and Nico, without people even noticing it, have outperformed Velde at all events we played with them.
Nico's one of these players that he's very shy, but he has so much talent, and if he gets comfortable in a team and if he gets comfortable in a game as well, he'll be able to go toe-to-toe with some of the best players in the world. And Yugi's kind of the same. I think after talking to him a couple of times, he's a bit easier to get out of his shell, but still he needs to be comfortable in a team, and he needs to have confidence before he can go off. So I think it's very important that, and this is a theme that comes together with all young stars in my opinion, they have to be comfortable, they have to have confidence, or else they cannot perform to their A-level game. If they don't perform to that A-level game, which is what of course we expect because they're new players coming in, it's going to be very hard for them. But I think Yugi and Nico specifically have shown in many matches against great teams, especially Virtus Pro, really good at countering them, that they can play up against the stars of Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
There's going to be presence North Heaven, though, so they'll have to be careful of that. And they're flanked back over towards lobby, but Snappy's paying attention for this one. Picks up the kill onto Neo. Pasha as well had to delay his retake to push back over here into Heaven, as it was mollied off just seconds ago. Now, trying to flash his way back in. He's going to go for it, and he'll have his teammate supporting, but he only flashed himself. Yugi's going to take him down. Bialy's got a clutch 1v3, but no! It's Heroic that will send VP home and eliminate them here in the group stage from IM Katowice.
Are we first? Vi först i gruppen. Vad nice man. Kolla lille Jakob. Kolla. Fuck vad nice.
It was we were down 1-2. We needed to win versus Navi in Virtus Pro, and to even have a chance to qualify, so to say. And when we actually did it, it panned out that we won the group. I think that was a really good feeling for us, and at least for me, because I was basically shocked that we even ended up in the first place. So I think we played good Counter-Strike. If we look like everyone does, look at statistics, none of us played good. I think all our 5 players has under 1.0 rating, and if you call that a honeymoon period, I don't think so, because we played as a good team. We managed to win the right rounds, of course. You can call if we had luck or not, but we beat the good teams with team spirit and good tactics. So I don't think it was honeymoon period.
I actually think that at Katowice we played poor compared to what we did here. But the thing is, at Katowice we lost two games quite clear, and then we had 3 games that was really close, and we won those. We had the marginals on our side. You can compare it at this event. We played 14-16 against both North and FaZe, and we destroyed versus Pro, and we lost big against Fnatic. But had we had marginals on our side at this event, we would have beat out FaZe and North and gone 3-1 into Swiss. My point is that sometimes you need luck, and I think we had luck at Katowice, and at this event we didn't. So I don't think that, when I look back at Katowice, I actually think we played better than against Astralis in the semi. That could actually have gone our way, I felt like. We didn't, it was 16-12, 16-12, and we lost some really stupid rounds. But looking back at Katowice, we wasn't really, I don't think we actually played that good at that event. I think we played better at Cologne and we didn't go out. So sometimes it's about luck and marginals. I think when we went to Austin, we had a lot of confidence after the Katowice result. We managed to go out of groups, and we beat Hellraisers and Luminosity 2-0 in quite clear wins, both of them. Then we played Immortals, and we had a 10-5 lead on T on Cobblestone. And usually our CT is really good, but we ended up losing that game. And after that, I think there started some problems that really wasn't problems, but eventually became bigger than what they were, and eventually couldn't get fixed.
I think we had high expectations in the team, and when we lost some stupid games, like the semi-final in Austin, for example, versus Immortals, we felt that we should have come to the final in both tours and Austin, for example, and when we didn't, people got frustrated, and things just happened.
So the one thing that a lot of people who don't follow CS as, let's say, focused as myself and others in the scene, is thinking about when you say heroic is of course Valde. He was the star player and he was benched, and there has been rumors going on for the last 2 months about where he's going to end up. And my opinion on it is that, to be honest, technically he could have probably played 6 months or more on this team, but you get the kind of feeling sometimes with some players that if they consistently just outperform their teammates, and the whole the whole team has to be situated around them because they're just so good and that's their best chance of winning, then that's not healthy for any other team players. We saw the same thing with ANJ and Singularity, which is a step lower down in the Danish scene, where they just had to focus all their play around him because that was their best chance of winning, putting him in all the correct situations. And I think that's what Heroic did in the end. But that is not good for the rest of the team, because then all the other players, their sole goal is to just help ANJ or help Valde succeed. Of course, that's paraphrasing a bit, because still you have to still perform as a team and do coordinated rushes and flash for each other and so on and so forth, but you get the idea. So I think actually Valde leaving the team is both good for the team and for Valde, because the team now has to restructure and create a new narrative for themselves, where they have to focus on the fact that they are 5 equal players. And yes, they have star players in Yuki and Nico, but it's not to the same kind of extent as it was with Valde. So now I think they have a more equal team, and a team that will function better as a unit. S-Attack, of course, the newest talent coming in from Tricked, or the former Tricked lineup. In my opinion, it's a bit different. I think he has more confidence, but I think he has a hard time adjusting, or he has had a hard time adjusting to the level that he's currently at, because it is a big jump going from a tier 3 team towards a tier 2 team. That's a big jump, and going to that is going to take him time, and I don't think he's going to be ready yet. Now he's had the summer yet. I don't think he was ready before the summer break, so I think it's going to take him a good 2 to 3 months before S-Attack is at the point where Nico and Yugi is right now.
It was between him or Cadian, basically. We felt like Cadian had some things we needed in the team, like he's really good at giving input and moving around players, but he also played the AWP role, as I said before. As an AWP you need to be able to do those kind of things. Also he's been an in-game leader, so he got even more experience in that department. So I think eventually we felt that we needed a strong rifler, and even though Kadian can use the rifle, he isn't a strong rifle, he's a strong AWP. So we had to pick Aztec and evolve around him because Nico and Yogi felt really comfortable with Aztec because they played with him in Tricked, and they said that he creates a good atmosphere and he wants to fix mistakes, and that's really something that's true. Because we fix more mistakes than we ever did. People don't have such big egos anymore, so it's actually possible to work with the team, something I didn't think was possible before. So I believe that we will come out stronger in the end. Right now it's a process. There's more like newbie mistakes, I feel like, at the moment, and simply people not taking enough responsibility in game. But I believe that will come with time, and basically if you get told every practice that you need to do it, eventually you're gonna learn it, I believe. That's the biggest challenge we got right now, I think. Getting people to take more responsibility and getting people to like cut down on every mistake. But I mean, we are a new team still, so the mistakes would come even if we had experienced players. But yeah, the biggest part is about taking the lead sometimes, even though you're not the in-game leader. As CT, when you hold the side, someone has to take control when I'm not there.
Our goals, like it has been since the day one, is being a top team in Denmark and being a top 20 team. But top 20 team is enough. I think our goal is to be a top 10 team, stabilized top 10 team. It's gonna be hard, but I think we're gonna get there someday. It's gonna take time, of course, but I'm hopeful. I think we're gonna get there.